Scott Walker, getting great political advice from a man named Scott Walker. Jonathan Martin, thanks for coming back. So lots of candidates are, into politics. Bill Clinton was into politics. George Bush was someone into it. Barack Obama. Is Walker more of a micromanager, more of a hands-on guy than even those guys were in terms of his campaign?
I mean, I think his life has been dominated more by campaigns and elections than those two who, each had periods of their life, Mark, where they were not involved in electoral politics, and that's not the case for Scott Walker. He ran his first campaign for the State House at 22 years old. He's really done only politics for his entire adult life, and even in college, he was very actively engaged in campus politics. So this is who he is.
Well, okay, so I take your point. Obama and Bush were sometimes not in politics, but does that make him like Bill Clinton, who was involved in politics early on and ran a lot and was hands-on? Is he more involved, more knowledgeable about politics than Bill Clinton? Or is it roughly comparable?
I mean, I don't know if he's got the sort of same gifts that Bill Clinton has when it comes to politics, because Bill Clinton obviously is a pretty rare talent. But there's no question that Scott Walker has figured out what exactly works in his campaigns to date. The question here, Mark, is, of course, can you apply what you've done at the state, county, and state rep level in Wisconsin to a national campaign? And I think that is what is so fascinating, is sort of, can he scale up? And to date, it's kind of mixed, right? He's had very good moments. He's burst out of the gates faster than I think he even thought he would. But at the same time, he's had some stumbles as well.
And Jonathan, what's the downside to all of this? Why can't you be your own best strategist?
Now, look, I think it's clearly a double-edged sword here, Heidi. I think that there's an upside to it. For example, in my piece, I write that he's got this line that he's using a lot right now, which is he's contrasting himself with his rivals who are governors and those who are senators. He says the governors are folks who have won, the senators are folks who have fought. I've fought and I've won.
It's a great
line. That's why I'm unique.
But did he come up with that?
It's a good line. He came up with that line. That's his line. And so there's definitely an upside to it. He's got a sharp political mind. The downside to it is you have to play candidate, too, and that's also a full-time job.
Yeah, you can't do it. And, I hear from donors and some Republican activists who say he's not able to let his staff grow. He takes up so much space in the strategic side of things that he's not built the same staff as the Rubio team and as the Bush team. The other thing we want to talk about with Walker is this issue of immigration and the fact that there have been two instances now where it's been reported, and Jonathan, you did the second one, the Wall Street Journal did a few weeks ago, of the question of is he telling people in private that he's more open to a path to legal status for the 12 million or so illegals here, or is he saying the same thing in public as in private? What's your sense of that? Because publicly he says he's against a path to legal status.
Right. I think there's no question that he has said things in private. It's been reported now twice that reflects somebody who is more flexible on the immigration issue, at the very least, than some of his public comments would let on. Look, I think after you've said in the past that you are open to some kind of a pathway to legal status or a pathway to citizenship, I think it's tougher to sort of walk back from that and claim that you're now somehow more of a hardliner, because people want to hear the former, and if you don't come down more clearly on saying, no, I really changed my mind, they're going to assume you're old state.
Right, but he's not the only one who's fudging his position on immigration. Marco Rubio, to name at least one. Do you think that this is a bigger vulnerability for him than the others who've arguably also flip-flopped?
Yeah, I think, Heidi, the issue is it's not just the immigration issue. He's also moved on, for example, ethanol, and he's had a much more strident tone on the issue of marriage that he has in the past. And I think if you combine those three issues and you hold them up against a map, it leads you to Iowa. And those three issues, in the eyes of a lot of people, are calibrated to ensure his standing in Iowa, where he has become the early frontrunner.
Yeah, and, of course, he's announcing on Monday, and we're going to see at least some interviews in conjunction with the announcement. It's going to be fascinating to see how much he's able to drive his message versus some of these issues which are lingering out there. All right, Kasich, John Kasich, we showed at the top of the program this new 60-second spot. Heidi and I both thought it was pretty good. We're wondering what you think of it as a bid backed by $1 million to try to get his name out there.
That's real money, as they say, and I think will definitely get him some attention in New Hampshire. And I think it's the kind of move, along with being on Bret Baier's show on Fox last night, doing a press conference yesterday here in D.C., that is aimed to get him some more earned media so he can move up a little bit in national polls to make that first debate in Cleveland, Mark. It's been striking to watch each of these candidates and how all of them are trying to figure out how they can move up in the national polls. Some do it with more national TV hits. Others do it with more early state visits. Fascinating to see.
Yeah. Kasich was in, as John said, was in Washington yesterday, and he is somebody who, let's be honest, the press corps just loves. He's a fascinating guy to talk to, and he's combative. We'll look a little bit at Jonathan talking to Kasich yesterday at this Capitol Hill press conference.
I was going to say about the party and the campaign, the two-term sitting governor of Ohio is uncertain if it will be a Cleveland debate less than a month from now. And somebody who is basically known for being a reality TV star is almost certainly going to be in there. What does that say about the party and about the campaign?
Well, you judge that.
Sir?
I said you judge that. I don't.
You, sir.
Well, but I don't have any comment on that. I mean,
What's your state?
Yeah, it's my state. There's going to be a debate. We're going to have the convention, and we're excited. And next year, we hope the Cavs are going to win the title.
Well, how would you feel if you were?
How would I? I'm not going to put carts before horses here. We have a month to go.
So what does he get out of being combative, not just with you, but as he often is with the press? What does he get out of that? Or he just can't help himself?
Oh, I think the jousting can be amusing if it's sort of done with a moderate edge, as it was yesterday. Although, Mark, as you know, sometimes the edge isn't so moderate. You know, the last thing that he said there in that exchange was, I was trying to ask him, well, do you think you're going to be in Cleveland for the debate? He said, I don't do predictions. I'm not Muhammad Ali. So a pretty good line.
Who's a pretty big predictor.
A line marked more dated for the non-millennials
in
the press corps.
Yes, I'm going to ask the millennials who work here after the show whether they even know who Muhammad Ali is, let alone Cassius Clay. You find Kasich's demeanor there dramatically different than the one they put in the ad, huh?
Yeah. I mean, I can't say, though, that he's the only candidate that I've seen who's got a different demeanor, especially sometimes when they're in Washington for the first time at, answering questions in that type of a venue. He did seem like he got a little bit prickly with you, but like you said, he's got a good relationship generally.
But that's
with the press.
standard, Kasich, and that's sort of how he's always been. And, I don't think he believes he's being prickly. He's just being himself. And if you ask him about it, you're going to invariably hear the other Kasich staple, which is, look, I'm the son of a mailman from Pennsylvania. That's sort of his go-to line. And it's going to be interesting to see how the sort of just folks, Western Pennsylvania vintage plays here in the
Yeah, they're all going for populists. Yeah. Don't you think? They're all trying to do the populist thing.
A little bit, and he does all the time. Just, Jonathan, real quick, because we got to go. Do you think he thinks that he's going to be president now, or does he think he's struggling as an underdog? Being with him yesterday.
I think he believes he has a shot to be president and believes the race is totally fluid. And, Mark, why not me?